Mhm.
Hello.
Mhm.
Oh, no reason to be nervous.
How you started training to be a wrestler?
I started training in, I think, June of 2000 in just outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, in a small garage. My trainers were Terry Fox and Eddie Sharkey. Eddie was pretty well known for getting guys, training guys like the Road Warriors and Rick Rude, a lot of the Minnesota guys. And Terry was the guy that helped with a lot of the in-ring stuff and taught me the basics. And, it was, I look back at it now, and it was good training from the aspect of really hammering home fundamentals and basics and giving us a good base to build on top of as we forged our career.
How's your TNA debut?
Yeah, so they contacted me because they had put my name in a poll about which guys would you like to see in the X Division. And they told me that I had won the poll and they wanted to bring me in. And I believe I faced Christopher Daniels. And of course, Chris, being Chris and being selfless and a pro, wanted to do the favor for me. But management obviously decided not to do that. But it was an interesting time because I was still working with Ring of Honor, and then TNA, offered an opportunity, but Ring of Honor was really paying my bills at the time. And then there became this kind of issue between the two companies, and that's when you start to learn about the political side of pro wrestling, and that's not always easy to navigate.
How's Austin Aries' ring name started?
Aries' name. So, I had my first match coming up. This was like November of 2000. And I was like, well, I need a name. So I didn't know how it worked. I figured, somebody would just give me a name at some point. I'd wrestle for a promoter and he would say, okay, now you're going to be this. Or again, if you go to WWE, most guys have their name picked for them. So I just needed a name for my first match, and my zodiac sign's in Aries, and I, personality-wise, kind of embody a lot of the good and the bad of the Aries. Fiery personality, can butt heads with people, but also wildly passionate, and so I picked that, and then I just started bouncing a bunch of different A names around. So I almost went with Aiden Aries. My first name's Dan, so I thought about maybe Aiden Aries, but I ended up going with Austin Aries. Remembered a guy named Austin Idol back in the day who still actually does some managing with the NWA, and I always liked that name. And I went with Austin Aries. I thought it had a good ring to it. I didn't know I was going to have it 25 years later. I might have put more thought into it, but that's how we got here.
How's your match in 2012 ladder against Jeff Hardy?
Oh, yeah, the ladder match. Man, I'm really proud of that match, Jeff Hardy's he's one of the pioneers of the ladder match, the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian and the Dudleys. And so I was stepping into his world. And I wanted to show that I could hang, and we could go out there and entertain the crowd. And going into that match, I had a torn disc in my lower back that I had suffered, that I was really fighting through that whole time, my title reign, the lead up to it. And so I think I'm most proud of that match is I was really hurting going into that match physically. It was difficult, and we got through it. And it actually almost helped it was a ladder match because I didn't have to be super athletic. I wasn't having to hit the ropes and run, which was difficult for me. So we just kind of, and then that last spill we take, where we both fall off the ladder on top of the ladder that's sitting crossways on the top turnbuckle. we stuck the landing, and it's not like you can practice that, and it wasn't easy, and we stuck it, and then he gave me the twist of fate on that ladder, and yeah, that was a fun match, and I always love working with Jeff. You know, he's just unorthodox and unpredictable enough and creative enough that you can just go out there and you know that there's going to be a little bit of magic dust that's going to be sprinkled in there, no matter what no matter what you have going in. So, yeah, fun match.
How's to be tag team with Bobby Roode?
Yeah, I mean, I love Bobby Roode and his style and his demeanor and what he did with his title reign. I was really grateful, that he was the guy I got to work with in that, in my lead up, and that title match we had I still think, holds the test of time as far as being a really, really good main event world title match. And then it just felt like it was just like kind of natural pairing of similar but different guys, not friends, not enemies, competitive adversaries, and just a little bit different mix of style where he's very, very technical and grounded and a little bigger guy, 240, 245, and then I bring a little more of the quickness and athletics and things like that. So there was a nice complementary style there, and then we were over with TNA for the European tour, and I popped in a store. Maybe I bet it was like an H&M, and I saw these shirts that said "Dirty Heels" on them, and they had these rhinestones, and I was like, these things look ridiculous, but in wrestling terms, "Dirty Heels" has a whole different meaning than it meant in the store here in the women's section. So I plucked a couple for me and Bobby to wear, and that's how the Dirty Heels name came to be, and so, but yeah, that whole time was a lot of fun working with a lot of really talented, high-level professional wrestlers. Yeah.
What a story of about you became wrestler in WWE.
Going to WWE. Timing's everything, right? And there had been multiple times in my career where either I was interested in going there, and they weren't interested in me for a number of reasons. There was a period where maybe they were a little interested in me, but I was under contract. And then finally this lined up, and a little unconventional for someone, like me to go there at 38 years old. I don't have the size, the type of size that they typically look for, but it was a great experience. You're at the highest level. You're seeing how things work at the highest corporate level of this art form, and all the pieces of the puzzle that it takes, not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera, behind the scenes. And, it's a lot of work to have that many people work on the same goal and accomplish it in all the different moving parts. And so it was a great learning experience getting to work with, again, high level people in this industry and at a pace that I hadn't experienced before. And so, kind of the cementing my career as far as checking all the boxes of the places that you want to go and experience in professional wrestling.
How's the moment wrestle in WrestleMania?
Yeah, man. I mean, listen, you walk out in front of 70,000 people, doing anything in life, and that's an experience, and so, again, a culmination of a lot of hard work that I put in for, at that point, 18 years, and getting to have family there and having it be Orlando where I'd kind of been based. So having family and friends there to see that and share that with them. Going out there with again, a guy like Neville, who's just such a high level performer. And so, we went out there and we wanted to set the tone for the evening and let everybody know, like this, you got a great night of wrestling action ahead, and I think we did that. And people come up all the time and tell me they were there at that match, and that was one of their favorite matches of the night. So, just grateful for that moment. And again, just that kind of culmination of all the hard work you put in for the years to get there. How did the commentary start? So I fractured my orbital bone in a match against, it was a tag match, and just got caught by a rear kick by Shinsuke Nakamura. Just an accident. And but the toe just caught me and broke the orbital bone. So that put me on the injured list. And I had mentioned that I was open to, doing something in some other role while I was hurt. And so they were starting 205 Live. So they asked me or actually told me, they told me, hey, we want to put you on commentary for this, which I thought was great. And such a great experience, getting to work with Michael Cole and Corey Graves and that production side of the team, and just learning so much of what they do, and getting to sit in the production truck and listen to traffic in your headset and see all the pieces that go into the production side of this and the commentary and how good these guys are at their job when you start to understand all the things that they're doing at one time. These guys are so good on, again, the highest level. And so I just had to, come in and do a very small part of that. And that was just be a character, and knowing that this was leading to me, getting back in the ring. So I didn't have to do a lot of the heavy lifting. I just kind of, in the 3-man booth, just put a couple of good one-liners in there, get my character over, start to lay the groundwork for where I knew that was going. But again, a great experience. And now, as I'm getting older, I started doing color commentary for MLW, Major League Wrestling. And so I've been doing that now for about 3 months. And I've been enjoying that. And I really like the Major League Wrestling product. And really the mix of what they're bringing in there with Lucha Libre. They've got some good heavyweights, some names that people would know who watch WWE, like Bishop Dyer, who's known as Baron Corbin, Dominic Dijak, Riddle. So a lot of these guys are now in MLW. And so I've been doing the color commentary there. And so the experience with WWE was what really opened that door for me to be able to now have these opportunities to do color commentaries moving forward. So again, just you never know how the world's going to work, right? You wouldn't think that having your orbital bone broken is a good thing, right? But in a weird way, it was the best. Like, I should be sending Nakamura a thank you card, because the orbital bone gave me the opportunity to do commentary, which is now something I will be able to build on if I'd like to move forward. And then the commentaries have really opened the door for my match with Neville and me at WrestleMania, because Mr. McMahon liked it, like we heard, so he wanted that match. So if this doesn't happen, I don't know if either of those two things happen. So it's really interesting, and that's why I always remind people, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is, sometimes when a bad thing happens to you in life, like, there's something greater. It's going to open a door, and it's actually it ends up being a very unconventional blessing, when you end up seeing it at the end of the day, right?
Love your theme song in WWE.
They ask us some ideas of songs you might like or sounds, and then they put it together. I thought I had a cool intro, and it popped good. And if I ever became a main player, that would have been a good theme song. That when that front hits, it's very recognizable, and with the right production and stuff behind it, could have felt pretty cool, pretty grand. Yeah.
Do you say WWE and TNA partnership?
Yeah, I guess it's good for those involved. Obviously it's going to be a mutually beneficial partnership. I don't know enough about it to be able to critique it one way or the other. Obviously it's going to open doors for TNA talent to step on and work with NXT, and potentially that could lead to other opportunities within WWE, which at this point in time is still a move up the pay scale, and WWE is still the main game. Whether it's strategic to kind of position themselves in a way, with AEW out there, and kind of strengthen numbers, there's all sorts of things that can be coming out of that. So I guess time will tell what the relationship, how it forms, and but obviously it's bringing more eyes to TNA's product, and it's listen, a lot of these talents at the end of the day when their contract's up, if there's interest, they're going to go to WWE. It's 9 out of 10 because the opportunity and the money's going to be better. And so I think just when TNA accepts that, they say, well, why not just work with them, because we're not really competing with them. So why not just work with them so that this transition, and we're not feeling like we're losing people to them, but now we're working with them and we're opening up opportunities. We're giving people this opportunity here to work at this level of production and TV wrestling, and then that gets them ready to move up to this next level here. And so I see there's a lot of positives to be had from working together, much more so than working against each other. I mean, that's to me and I think what's kind of being lost, in my opinion, in this art form, is that there's supposed to be a certain level of spontaneity and art to it, right? And so when you do something in the heat of the moment with emotion because it feels right, that if I'm watching that feels different than if it's a rehearsed routine that some people have gone in there and practiced for 2 hours before they go out and do it. That's not, in my opinion, what professional wrestling is supposed to be. That's why there's so much less emotion, is because it's like sometimes the best stuff is the stuff that just comes out here artistically, and so I don't really practice before matches. I have an idea what the story is that I want to go out there and try to tell. If there's any, if I'm working with some guys less experienced and they want to walk through something or spacing or okay, but no, I don't. And same with the promo. It's usually the best one's usually the first one, because when you start thinking about it too much, now it comes off like you've thought about it and crafted it. So that's just my opinion. So I do know, like, some of these bigger matches, these WrestleManias, these guys have a ring set up and they're practicing and rehearsing their match, and that's cool. Like, that works for a lot of the performers. That works for me. I've just never really operated that way.
Your top 5, your favorite match in your career?
Favorite match in my career, man. It's going to be like some obscure match that you probably don't know just because of the story I told and the shenanigans I did. Obviously, like, the big matches, like, I'll say this, a lot of my favorite moments or favorite matches is me losing. Most of my favorite matches are coming at a loss, because I know the work that I put in to make that moment feel as good as it did for the audience, right? It's easy to make it about yourself to get all the adulation. To put yourself out there in a way that is going to be for the other guy to get that, but you can take what would be a visceral reaction for that guy and you make it here, because they despise you so much that when that guy beats you, it tastes sweeter than when he beats anybody else. See, and so that's when they beat me, it just feels a little bit better. I'm a little happier when Austin Aries loses. It tastes a little better when Austin Aries loses his title. I put pride in creating that and working towards that. And that's not about me. That's where my satisfaction lies, because I understand in this industry, that guy's really important. Because everybody wants to be the hero. And everybody wants to sell the merchandise. And everybody wants to have everyone say nice things about him on the internet. But what really drives professional wrestling is the bad guy. You need the bad guy, right? Otherwise, it's just the good guy, and But if he has no adversary, right? If there's no Penguin, there's no Batman.
I mean, yeah. I shouldn't say like I've been a good guy. I just sometimes I don't dial up the disdain for the people as much, right? I'm never gonna be Jeff Hardy. It's not who I am, you know. I think of a guy like Arn Anderson. Was Arn Anderson ever a good guy? Yeah. He was just always Arn Anderson. Whether he was a good guy or he was a bad guy. When he was a bad guy, yeah, maybe just, he did a few more underhanded things. Cheated a little bit more, But it wasn't like there was a drastic difference between the two versions of that.
If you not became wrestler, what do you think your work right now?
Who knows? No idea. I mean, I grew up a baseball player, so I always, wanted to try to, be a baseball player. So maybe something in baseball, maybe something with cooking. I really enjoy food, and so I've, that's the direction I'm going. And then I suppose, my other side business is, which is in food, right? Is helping people convert to a healthier lifestyle through their diet, through the household products they use, the deodorants, the shampoos, the soaps, the fragrances, the water you drink. There's a lot of toxins, right? Like food, like everything around us is, kind of set up to work against us and make us sick. And so having someone to help navigate you through that and to learn how to make better decisions when you're shopping and you're being a consumer, understanding what you're buying and what your options are, and then only buy the things that are good for you. Stop buying the poison and the bullshit. Excuse my language. Thank you so much. Hey, I really appreciate you, man, and your story and what again, moving forward and doing something that you love to do and trying to impact the world in a positive way. So I don't take all these requests, but when I looked into what you're doing and your story, I thought it was cool, and I wanted to come out here and be a part of it. So keep doing what you're doing, man. You're definitely, when people see you're an inspiration to people. Yeah. So keep moving forward. Keep doing what you're doing. All the best to you.